68.7 billion. Fine, I'll stop talking about the money. I'm still fucking blown away by it all, but as I'm sure you know by now, Xbox recently made the purchase of Activision Blizzard for 68. Now, we all know Activision Blizzard for their huge franchises that absolutely dominate the world of multiplayer gaming. Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, Overwatch, to name a few. And, you know, obviously, these games are fucking huge. They make a lot of money. Like, silly amounts of money. So then, because of this, those are the games that they tend to focus on, because obviously they're the most lucrative. That's why we see a new Call of Duty every fucking year. And basically every studio under the Activision umbrella is expected to chip in to keep that turnaround going. But what that means is smaller, less lucrative video game projects find themselves in the video game graveyard, left to be forgotten. But some of us who aren't interested in a new fucking Call of Duty every year, some of us want to see those franchises back from the dead.
So you want to be a player, but your wheels ain't flying.
Well, some of them. So today I want to talk about 6 forgotten Activision franchises that Xbox need to bring back. Number 6 is Gun. There's an excellent chance that you've seen this game knocking about on shelves at your local CEX, but there's probably an even better chance that you've never actually played it. When someone asks you to think about the best Western video games, the immediate reaction is to talk about the Red Dead series. And why fucking not? Red Dead Redemption and Red Dead Redemption 2 are, without a doubt, the best Western games there are. Miles and miles in front of competition. And there's a good reason for that. 1, they're made by Rockstar, and Rockstar's games are generally impeccable. And 2, there is no competition. Other than a handful of indie titles, the Wild West genre of video games is currently chronically underrepresented. But that wasn't always the case. Once upon a time, when Red Dead Redemption wasn't the rootinest, tootinest, badass... Let's just ignore that. Anyway, way back in 2004, the first Red Dead game was released, Red Dead Revolver. There's a good reason why it doesn't get talked about like its successors. It was shit. Well, no, it wasn't shit at the time. It was just the first attempt at a fully fleshed out 3D story game set in a Western universe. It's easy to see what they were going for, but its execution was just a little bit all over the place. Multiple playable characters and a ton of unique gameplay mechanics that just didn't work well with one another and left the game a bit of a mess. 1 year later though, Activision took a pop at the market with Gun. And what they achieved with Gun was kind of everything that I think Rockstar wanted to do with Red Dead Revolver. The story was gripping, the graphics for the time were just immense, the shooting mechanics feel like the start of how modern day shooters play now. And I think what confirms that this game was a great game back in 2005 is the fact that it still feels fun to play today. Now, 17 years later. And I know this because I only just played it recently for the first time. Why am I playing Gun, a 17-year-old game, for the first time in 2022? Well, because this guy, Smarties, he's been pestering me to play this game for some time now, reckons it's one of the best games ever on the PS2. Now, that's a claim that I'm not going to commit to, but after playing it, I really can't see how this game didn't get more attention than it did. It's basically seemingly everything that Rockstar wanted to do with the Red Dead series just 5 years earlier. I'm not saying it's as good as Red Dead Redemption, but it's like its spiritual predecessor. I would go as far as saying some upper level management probably sat down at Rockstar with Gun and said, we should have done this. Anyway, fast forward to 2022 and that genre of game is just criminally underrepresented. It's like other devs have just said, nah, we'll just let Rockstar have that one. But Xbox have the opportunity here to bring back a little bit of healthy competition with Gun 2. I mean, it's unlikely to be a Red Dead killer. In fact, I'd fucking bet all the money I owned it wouldn't be a Red Dead killer. But it doesn't need to be in order to be a good game. To have an alternative and something for Western fans to enjoy whilst we wait till 2045 for Red Dead Redemption 3, that can never be a bad thing. It's also worth remembering that once upon a time, Medal of Honor was the premium choice war game, and Activision made Call of Duty in an attempt just to try and compete in that market. And look at Call of Duty now. Number 5 is Tenchu. Tenchu, for me at least, was the original unapologetic gaming experience. Long before we had the likes of Dark Souls, these were the games that would really test your patience and made you want to snap the disc. Now, if any of you are super well versed on Activision, you might be thinking, Joe, Activision just released Sekiro a couple of years ago, and that was originally conceived as a new Tenchu title. So technically, Tenchu isn't dead. Except it is, because Sekiro was developed by From Software, and the agreement was made that Activision would simply publish the game as a one-off, and the name and general rights would be retained by From Software, meaning that Sekiro and any future Sekiro titles do not fall under the Activision umbrella, and are therefore not part of the acquisition made by Xbox. But Tenchu is. And since Activision had front row seats to the success of a criminally difficult ninja style game, there's a very good chance that they might want a slice of that pie. And with the combined resources of all the studios that are now part of the Xbox family, there's surely a studio out there that will be willing to take on the development challenge that is Tenchu. The original Tenchu is without a doubt one of the best PS1 games of all time. The second and third games were also great, but after that the series kind of lost its way. No more so than when they released this on the DS. Awful, awful, awful game. The thing is, despite its downward trajectory, there are a lot of people out there who are still faithful to the original franchise and who have been waiting for more than a decade now for a new Tenchu game to surface. And now Xbox have all the tools they need to make it happen. No brainer. Just please don't fuck it up. Next up at number 4 we have Guitar Hero. How fucking good was Guitar Hero though in its heyday? The thing is, it hasn't really been that long since we had a new Guitar Hero game. In 2015, Guitar Hero Live was released, and this was billed as a new era for Guitar Hero, redesigned from the ground up. We got new guitars with new button layouts, ditching the classic 5-button coloured system. We got new visuals from the perspective of a lead guitarist using actual live footage from real shows. They introduced Guitar Hero TV, which allowed you to play hundreds of songs being broadcast on a rotating schedule, bolstering the track list from the 42 that came on disc to over 400. It all sounds fucking great when you put it like that, but the thing is, we liked it before. It was a classic case of if it ain't broken, don't fix it. Yeah, it had grown a little tired by 2010 after Activision force-fed us a new entry to the series every fucking year, but that didn't mean it needed an entire revamp. The 5-year hiatus between Guitar Hero Warriors of Rock and Guitar Hero Live would have been just fine. The rest was enough. But instead they decided to strip out all the charm and personality that came with the originals by scrapping the tongue-in-cheek cartoon style, the crazy characters with customizable outfits and guitars, the addition of unlockable characters that were some of your favourite guitarists. It was all just gone. They even scrapped the progression system of the game. On the originals, you play through a story campaign where you started as a garage band and worked your way up the ranks to stardom. And this is the first level on Guitar Hero Live. I mean, what am I working towards if this is my first show? Anyway, with Xbox now owning the Guitar Hero name, it's time, in my opinion, to roll back the clock and give us a good old-fashioned Guitar Hero game. Bring back the charm of the originals and put the old ones on Game Pass. Okay, so number 3, Spyro the Dragon. It's got to be done, right? We saw a lot of success from the remakes of the original trilogies of that and Crash Bandicoot. And as a result, Crash Bandicoot got a Crash Bandicoot 4, which in itself was a pretty good success. So why have we not seen Spyro get the same treatment? Xbox now owns some fantastic studios that specialise in 3D platforming. Aside from the obvious like Toys for Bob and Vicarious Visions, Double Fine is also an Xbox studio who just released Psychonauts 2, which was a Game of the Year contender for 2021. I mean, there wasn't much out last year, but a Game of the Year contender nonetheless. Anyway, what are they working on now? Spyro was a classic for so many people growing up in the PS1 era, and the remakes only proved that people are still interested, and that Spyro has what it takes to attract a new audience. A new Spyro game would send shivers of pure excitement through the bodies of anyone who enjoyed the originals, and with the reach of Xbox Game Pass, it's sure to pick up new fans along the way. We've seen games like Yooka-Laylee and Super Lucky's Tale being put on Xbox Game Pass that didn't really cut through the crowd and become the successes that they probably could have. And that's because, I mean, who the fuck are they? These aren't characters that are synonymous with the world of 3D platform games. But do you know who is? Spyro. Spyro the fucking Dragon. Number 2 is Quake. Now this is kind of a weird one because Quake isn't actually owned by Activision anymore. It was actually sold back in 2010. But it was sold to none other than Bethesda, who are also owned by Xbox. Thing is, they haven't really done anything with it since buying the franchise from Activision. They released Quake Champions in 2017, which completely tanked and became a free-to-play game less than a year after it launched. They remastered the originals, which was cool, I guess. But here's the thing, we're living in the reborn era of the arena shooter. Overwatch, Valorant, Apex, Splitgate, all of these are just fucking insanely popular games, and all of them owe their foundations to Quake. Quake is the fucking original, the fucking daddy of arena shooters. I cannot think of a better time to honour that name and bring back Quake amongst those huge titles. It's like Metroidvania's immensely popular style of game at the moment. Everyone's making them and they're great, but when an actual new Metroidvania comes out, or an actual new Castlevania, people stand up and take note, because these are the fucking forefounders of these titles. Quake needs to be brought back to that level of prestige, and now Xbox have the original developers and publishers working together under the same metaphorical roof. Is there a better time to do it? Finally then, at number 1, and this isn't really a dormant title, it's more of a dormant spin-off title, but where the fuck is Crash Team Racing 2. The kart race is a style of game popularised by the original Mario Kart in 1992, and since then, Mario Kart has always been at the top of the pile. Many others have tried to replicate it with basically zero success. Many have tried to overturn Nintendo as the kart racing kings, but all have failed. Well, all but one. Crash Team Racing. For a small period of time after its release, Crash Team Racing was the world's #1 kart racing game. It was fucking sublime. It still is fucking sublime. And its remake was fucking sublime, if not a little tough for newcomers. After the original though, we saw a slew of Nitro Kart games, but they didn't really even succeed at replicating their own formula with those. And look, let's be honest, the kart racer is underrepresented in the Xbox world. A new Crash Team Racing game would absolutely blow my nips off, and if done correctly, could be a genuine competitor in the kart racing genre. And even if it doesn't compete, it would still be the best alternative for Xbox players. Let's get it over the line, Xbox. Get it over the line. Finish line. Anyway, that's it from me today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please leave a like on it if you did. And as always, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Let me know in the comments if there are any dormant Activision franchises that you'd like to see resurrected. And I'll see you in the next one.